how marketing really works. I'll talk a little bit about my background for those of you who have heard me speak before. Thank you for coming back. If my slides don't work, please let me know, okay, guys, because I just want to make sure everybody sees everything. You will get a copy of all the slides and a recording along with this. So pay attention. You don't need to take a lot of notes, but please, as Ed said, ask all the questions you want. Even if it's questions not specifically on this topic, we have a lot of talent on this call to help you. So if you've heard this pitch before, if some of you are already in business, and maybe you could just put in the chat if you're already in business or if you're just starting out, because in the examples I can share with you will make more sense if I have an idea who's in the audience. But if you've heard this pitch before, like, oh, it's real simple, just follow my 3-step process and, your clients and your customers will just come to you. Just plug in your sales funnel and watch the sales roll in and, use this secret word and the clients will just, sell themselves. I have never seen any of these really work. Marketing is really not something that is, it's not magic. It's a whole strategic plan. So if you're in business starting out, you're creating a business plan. If you're already in business, you're creating an annual strategic plan. You need a marketing strategy that is part of this plan. You can't just throw spaghetti on the wall and hope that customers are going to come your way and sales will and things will stick. That's not how marketing actually works. So you're also, all of you, and Ed neglected to mention this, you're all going to get a link to a copy of this book. Matt, it's not in print yet, but anyone who just registers can immediately download a PDF version of the draft. I want you to have this book now because there's about 180 pages of a lot of detail in here on what you should do for marketing and how to build a whole marketing strategy, which would just take way too long in this program. And Matt, when the book is in print in October, I'll send you one for the library. But I want you guys to be able to have it now. So just so you know, there's typos and editing that's still going on, but you'll be able to download it and start reading it right away tomorrow. So I'm a 4-time entrepreneur, and I've grown companies to 7 and 8 figures. That is no lie. I use the library. I use the library for a lot of data. And the library is where I go to get the data I need to determine how I'm going to market my business. I mean, who's my competitors? How many of them are out there? How am I going to differentiate myself? Where are my customers located? What's going on? These are tricks that I've learned from the Fortune 1000. I was a management consultant and business advisor to very, very large companies. And I'm also a small business owner. So I know what it's like to have to do a lot of these things that large corporations do because they have a lot of money to spend. They can do a lot of this testing. You as small business owners don't have a lot of money. So you've got to be so focused and so careful on how you create a marketing strategy. You cannot chase what I call the vanity metrics. How I even wrote this book, 2 clients. I now have a boutique consulting firm. I help small business owners kind of get turned around and get on the right course. 2 of them came to me within the last year. Each spent $1 million, 2 different industries, 2 different parts of the country, $1 million in 1 year on advertising and marketing online. Chasing vanity metrics, how many likes they got, how many shares they got, how many comments they got. Well, guess what? That doesn't mean people are going to buy. No sales, no very, very few definitive sales. They are so deep in debt now. We're trying to turn them around and figure out how are we going to get out of this debt and what we're going to do next. So don't follow what people say is real simple and all you need to do is put out an ad, or all you need to do is make it look pretty, or all you need to do is spend a few $100 more and the clients will show up. That's not how it works. You need a return on your investment for every penny you spend on marketing. So that's how this program came to be, because I hear it over and over and over. So that's why I call it the myth. I want to deconstruct this myth. This is something that requires a lot of hard work and a lot of planning. And if you call a marketing, so-called marketing agency, and no offense to those of you who are listening to this program, if you do own a marketing company, maybe this information will help you with your clients. You have to have a definitive message as to why you're in business in the first place. And, if you're failing in this, you're not alone, because you've just been told this lie over and over and over that this is just a simple way to do it. I just got off the phone an hour ago with a woman who owns a company here in Arizona, and her Google ads are costing about $72 to $73 per customer to get a customer, which is eating into the margins. It's just almost not doable. And yet she's now at a point where she understands what these costs are and how she needs to connect with people. So the myth is it's not simple. The myth is it's not easy. So you have to build a winning marketing strategy. It has to be something that is effective. And the one important piece that I see, there's a foundation to marketing, and I see this missing over and over and over again. And I call that the business model. Most people are building a strategic plan or a business plan starting with what's called a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. But they can't tell me, that does not tell me why you started the business in the first place. Go back to what's that missing piece? What's the missing piece that made you start your company? Because that's what your business model is based on. That's how you define what your value is. That's how you define what your differentiation is and your differentiator from all your competitors. So the question here that you need to answer, and if you cannot answer this, don't start spending money on marketing until you can answer it. That's why I'm so glad Matt's on this call and Rajiva's on this call, and Ed, they're mentors at SCORE, and Matt's a business librarian. What makes your business different from your competition? And you have to be able to answer that question. To me, that's the business model. To me, that's the foundation for your marketing strategy. That's the piece that's missing from everybody who comes to me. I wanted to put a slide in here, but I didn't have a chance. I'm going to tell you a story. My parents were not business owners, but my grandparents on both sides were. Kind of skipped a generation. My father's parents were dairy farmers from southern Wisconsin. They owned Isabel Farms. And milk is something that most people have purchased in their life at some point in time. And you can buy milk at a lot of different places, and you can buy milk and pay a lot of different prices. And the funny part is, a Holstein cow produces about 35 pounds of milk a day. So when the farmer gets done putting the milk, pumping the milk out of the cow, puts it in a container, ships it off to a production plant where they test the milk for bacteria, pasteurize it, so forth and so on, and get it ready to put in the bottles. And from the bottles, it goes on the shelves. And we go to the store and buy it. Now, the same cow can have milk in 3 different bottles in 3 different stores in the same day. Same milk. And yet each of them has a different price point. Why? That's the business differentiator. You can buy the milk from Walmart because Walmart says we've got the cheapest prices, so they buy in bulk and volume. You can go to the gas station and buy milk because it's convenient and pay way more per gallon than you will at Walmart. Now, in most states that you're in, it's illegal to sell raw milk, but here in Arizona, we can buy raw milk. I prefer raw milk, non-pasteurized, and that's a lot of money because it's unique. It's only in 1 or 2 stores that I can buy it here. It could be the same milk from the same cow. three different price points. But that's the business model. It's milk, but what makes it different? What makes it different is how I get access to the milk and how quickly I can get access to the milk, and is it the type of milk that I want? Same thing, and no matter what business you're in, if you want to put in the chat a couple questions about what business you're in, what type of industry you're in, or what type of business you're thinking about, if you can't tell me what makes you different or why you started in the first place because you thought there was a gap in the marketplace, all the marketing dollars you spend in the world they're not going to make any difference, because unless you can tell me your milk is cheaper than Walmart's or more convenient to buy because it's at a gas station, I don't have to walk to the back of the store, which takes me at least a half an hour to shop at a Walmart, where it could be 5 minutes at a gas station. So, any questions so far on anything? I really want to get a chance, Ed or Rajiv, if you could tell me what some of the industries are that people are listening here. I can give better examples.
Let me take a quick look here. I think we got.
We have at least a dozen people who are, in business, if not more.
Okay.
And people from few months to number of years and who are looking for growth opportunity.
Okay. So
here's a couple of Darlene, here's a couple of I create these are coming in so quick. Concealed carry trainer, okay. Retail, children's book sale, health and beauty, children's book sale, retail, let me see, Chris, slide, book publishing. I create stationery using original artwork, corporate communication, website development. I teach people to save lives. I'm primarily an e-commerce business selling stationery items. And on. I had a couple television and film production. There you go.
Yeah.
You're all over the board, Darlene.
So, okay. So the point is, some of you have a lot of competitors, just like the cow can produce milk into a lot of different stores. If you have a lot of competitors and you're selling, let's say, website creation and website development, what makes you and your business different than every other website creator in the world? So think of you, I want you to think of a strip mall. Most of you live in a place where you can find a strip mall of stores, okay? And everyone in the strip mall sells the exact same thing you do. So I'm going to pick website development, and there's 10 little storefronts, and everyone has a sign selling website development. Now I drive into the mall, and what is going to make me pick your door over anyone else's? What's going to make you unique? What's going to make me say, that's the one I want? And in most cases, you're going to have to say something that's extremely unique, like raw milk. That is so unique here, and only 2 stores carry it, but yet it's milk. So what do you offer that's different? And if you can't tell me that, that means you still need to do a lot more research about who your competition is and what they're selling. And that's why it is so important to do this research. And Rajiv used to work with me at one of my consulting firms, and we stay friends. And he approached me just last week saying, I think you ought to start this other business. So what am I doing now? I'm doing research, and I'm doing what I call industrial espionage kind of research. I'm checking what every one of my competitors that I will have does, so that I can find a way to position myself so that I'm unique. And how I'm doing that, I'm talking to a lot of people, and I'm asking a lot of questions. So these are the things that you have to do for each of your businesses. And it's going to take a lot of time to figure that out and to test it. Because you can't just put it out there once and say it's going to work. And that's why, and even now with AI, I want to talk about AI because AI is making it even faster for people to sell marketing services. I'm getting inundated with emails to buy how to put out ads and how to put out videos and how to put out this and how to put out that. I could easily spend $6,000-7,000 a month in subscriptions doing all this. But unless the content that says the sign on the door and my door, I'm a business consultant and a business advisor, and if there's 10 of us in the strip mall, what's going to make me different from the other 9? So just because you're using AI, now you're spending more money faster to get it out there, but that doesn't mean that people are going to buy it. It's just giving you what I call the illusion of success. There was a big ad that I just saw on social media. I have editors that are editing my book, and I sent one of them this ad. I can't tell you who it is because I'm not going to get sued for defamation. But it specifically said in this ad, easy, just do this, easy, just do that, easy, just do this. And this person charges a lot of money for these marketing services. And there's no guarantee it's going to work. So I just want you to be very, very careful about these so-called instant experts out there. And AI is making more people an instant expert than anything else. And Amazon came up with the one-click buy. I use it all the time. If I need to purchase something and I see it, I just click the button. I think they have the trademark on that. But that's not how most people will buy from you. They're not going to know who you are. They're going to do more research. They're going to need more information. They're going to need to know why you're different than everyone else who sells, for example, website services. So I want you to be careful of what I call chasing the shiny objects, because marketing isn't just one thing. It's not just a silver bullet. It's not the plug and play, turn it on and it's going to work. It's something that you have to test. And this gets back to the library and research. Test it for a while, spend a little bit of money, pick a very, very narrow niche audience, start small, don't start across the entire country, don't start across the entire city. Pick a little piece of the market that you can focus on. And then test it over and over. So just don't fall for people who are selling you the graphics and making it look like it's real simple, because it comes from this disciplined, what I call disciplined execution. So for example, with the website developer, perhaps you can target a certain industry that you're only doing websites for instead of everybody. And perhaps you can say, I'm only doing websites for a dentist's office, or I'm only doing websites for this, or I'm only doing websites for that. And then you become an expert in that field that you're focusing on. But if you try and be all things to all people very early on in your business, and if you've been in business for a while, you're very fortunate because you can go back and take a look at your customer database and track what the common thread was from your customers. And hopefully you kept access to this data. A lot of people come to me that are in business 5-6 years, and they don't have a good handle on who their clients were. They have an idea, but they don't have a lot of data. But if you have access to the data that you had and who your clients are, you'll be able to come up with a common thread and see if that is something that you can focus on. So I just want to warn people about AI, because it really can help you pump things out faster, but you need the strategy first. So for example, I use AI all the time to help me create my social media branding. I use it to even create slides. I use it to create graphics. However, I tell it what I want that content to look like, and I tell it how I want it to look different or position me in a different manner than all of my competitors. I don't expect AI to give me that answer. I do that research and I tell them what I'm looking for, and then I pump it into AI and say, okay, I just created posts that are going to go out on Thursday. I'm launching a new product. And so I know what the benefits are. I told AI, here's the benefits. Here I'm differentiating myself from my competition. What are some of the words that you would use? So this is how AI helps. But if you say, I sell websites, and you go into AI and say, create some ads for me, they'll just create whatever compared to whatever else is in the universe. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how you're going to be differentiated from everybody else. So the strategy comes first before AI, no matter which of the AI tools that you're using. And I want you to stop thinking that everyone is your customer. I terminate customers all the time because not everyone is going to be my ideal customer. Not everyone is going to be your ideal customer. I should do a whole workshop, guys, on how to say no. Because, for example, let's go back to the dairy farm and the milk, and there's 3 gallons, and Walmart's selling their milk cheap, and the gas station selling their milk expensive because it's convenient. You can't, Walmart doesn't have the raw milk. They're not going to carry it just for me because that's such a very small niche market. So they say, they know I'm not going to go in the store for that. Where the high-end grocery store where I do buy the raw milk is not going to sell the milk cheap. They don't want those people as their customers. They know where their business is positioned. So once I describe who this ideal customer is, whether you're selling to a business or an individual, follow what major corporations do in their marketing. They only market to a certain group. Walmart advertises constantly over the holiday season. Here's my receipt compared to my competitor's receipt. And that's it. If I go into a gas station, they're not going to put their milk on sale for me. They're going to say, no, we have to charge more because we have to keep it on. We only can keep so many on the shelf. We don't have the volume. We got to bring it in, blah, 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 blah. Their costs are a little higher, so they have to charge you more. So throwing spaghetti on the wall is not a strategy. So make sure that when you pick your ideal customer, it's the smallest group as you can possibly find. And then your message can be very clear and very, very, very specific. Because if you don't have your message right, automation just confuses the process even more. It's just, you're going to spend money faster that's not going to generate anything. So I don't want you to be confused just because you've got activity going on in your marketing or in your marketing campaign, especially on social media, doesn't mean it's effective. It doesn't mean it's helping. Stop. Just stop spending the money and figure out what the strategy is before you spend any more. Any questions?
Yes. Yes, there are some questions. Hang on a second. I had to get off mute.
I know.
Now I've got to find this individual. Bear with me. We have a lot of individuals on this call. Okay. Sigrid Johnson, would you unmute yourself? You have a question about e-commerce. Go ahead and talk to Darlene, please.
Hey, Darlene, this is Sigrid.
Hi,
So
Sigrid.
I have a relatively new e-commerce business, and I think I have my niche pretty well cornered. My company is one of the ones that creates stationery from original artwork. When I'm looking to market to those people, I really struggle with how to reach those people.
Who can I ask who those people are?
So it would be my company is based on more of a faith-based positive messaging, meaningful connections. So my target market would typically be people looking for stationery products that deliver a meaningful message to their receiver.
And why are they sending stationery to their receiver?
That would be because they want to share an emotional connection. So they want to share their message with them. So most of my products resonate with the people that purchase them.
And who's your competitor?
Oh my goodness. It's other small businesses typically. I'm obviously like a Dayspring would be like a major market. Business that markets to consumers. The difference is they're mass produced. Mine is in-house and more customizable.
Are yours one of a kind?
Yes.
Do you say that in your marketing?
Well, I say one of a kind is prints of my original, so they're going to get prints.
But it's one of a kind artwork.
Correct.
No one else has this. So you have to somehow you have to come up with the raw milk position where they're not going to be able to find your stationery with your messaging or your artwork anywhere else.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's you have to get a little bit more creative. I mean, it would take some time for me to dig to actually look at your messaging, but you're going to have to find a way to say that you're the only one in town that has this type of messaging based on this type of artwork. And what are some? You said your clientele gets some benefits from this. What are some of the testimonials they have to give back to you that indicates that you're the only one that has that?
So what I've heard from my repeat customers, and there's been a few, I've only been in business a few months. So what I've heard is when they are giving these things, they feel like they're sharing a bit of themselves.
Mhm.
So the image that I'm painting and portraying on their card is something that resonates with them, that they feel is important to share with whoever they're sharing it with.
And what kind of we can dig more, but I think you need to look into the psychographics of what's going on in these people in their lives, why they're buying the stationery in the first place. And I
Okay.
think if you spend a lot of time at the library, you might be able to figure that out.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
Another quick thing, Siegfried, if you need to find a SCORE mentor, go to score.org.
yeah.
That's what a
Yep,
lot of these
I
folks
do.
come
I
from.
actually have a mentorship appointment tomorrow.
Good.
So I
Excellent.
did
Good timing.
pursue that. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good.
Okay.
Okay, we have another question here. Philip Dubrovnik. Philip, you want to unmute yourself as soon as I find you here? Philip, where did you go?
I don't see anybody, so
Philip, you were on here. Where did you go? PH. Yeah, there he is. Oh, nope, wrong. Boy, that jumped quick. Hang on. Philip, did you leave us again?
oh,
There
maybe
he
you can.
goes. I got him at the
You got-
top. There you go.
okay,
Philip,
okay.
go ahead and speak.
Hi. So yeah, I've got 3 ketamine clinics and 2 wellness bars, and we have Go High Level as our CRM. And then what we've found is that like some more in-depth training with the agents was helpful. I don't know, like if you've done and dove deep into like the agent specific training. If you have any specific guidance on how to make the most out of that.
Well, again, I go back to who's the competition in the area that the agents need to be trained to position you against this competition.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
All righty. One last question, then we'll let Darlene pursue this. Kimberly Mildeberg, I probably mispronounced that. Kimberly, I'm sorry. Let me allow you to speak. And you should be ready to go. Kimberly, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay, so I have a herb, so it's bulk herb, teas, spices, vinegar, and oil shop. And my key market would be healthy people that want to explore herbs, blending their own teas, and the high-end vinegar and oils. When I came to, so I moved from Arizona and I was down in Tucson where I had all of these shops in one place. And I moved to Beaver Dam and there's nothing. So the nearest I have is Madison, Milwaukee, and Fond du Lac. So they're about an hour away. I opened the shop. How do I, so I know what my key people are. How do I reach them?
Well, what do they look like? Where do they live? Where do they spend their time? And you may have to, this is no joke, when I went to the library, started my management consulting firm, I got names and addresses of 150 chief information officers and I sent them all letters. And I sent them letters and then I called up and I followed up with each one of them. So where are these people hanging out in Beaver Dam that even if you send them a direct mail, can you put on workshops? Can you put on programs? Can you put on an open house? Find out where these people live and then invite them there.
And I can get all of those from the library.
You'd be surprised what you can get from the library.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's where I would start.
And Kimberly, you may even want to do ask the library if you can do a presentation on the difference in oils and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, try and
Thank you.
find a way to do that in the community. People just need to know that you're there.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I've been doing with the chamber. And
Yeah,
I have open houses and I have teaching classes and just
But
like
but
they're
that's-
having a dog days. Pardon?
yeah, but that's to other business owners. You're trying to get to the consumer.
These are the chamber is marketing it to the consumers.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're connected with that list. So that's why you should get your own list.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to let Darlene go back, and there's a few other questions in there, but we'll get to them later, folks. So just be patient. We'll call on you. But keep them coming. They're good questions.
So this is like the next part of this is you can't have a generic message. You have to go beyond that. You have to say what's your unique value proposition. Again, going back to Walmart saying they've got milk cheaper than anyone else, and the gas station it's convenient, and specialty stores having something with raw milk. So you cannot have the generic message that I sell this, and this. It looks like a menu in a restaurant, but why is yours different? Otherwise, you're throwing money in a black hole if you're just advertising a generic message. And this is what happened with the two clients that came to me that each spent $1 million. And they're slowly changing the power of their messaging. One of them, it's the oldest one in the country in the product that they're serving, and they never told anybody that. And another one didn't even have the right how to connect with them message so people could find them. It was very, very basic, simple things. I have a client in Ohio, and he was selling murder mysteries. If you've seen the slide I had on that in several of my other programs, he's an entertainer. And during COVID, everything was just shutting down. But it turned out he was one of the oldest companies in the country, and he was one of the fastest growing prior to COVID. So we just started using the message, and he's in Ohio. So he was saying, I'm Ohio's fastest growing mystery dinner party. And sales just took off, and sales took off because local newspapers wanted to write a story about him because everyone else was failing during COVID and he wasn't. So the newspaper print, which was free advertising for him, and just last week, this month, another magazine picked him up for the area. So if you can get this unique value proposition message, you'd be surprised what other people can pick it up where you're not even spending any money on marketing and advertising. So it took me, as a business advisor, it took me almost 3 years to figure out how I'm different from 9.2 million competitors that I have on LinkedIn that all claim they're business mentors, business coaches, business advisors, or business consultants. 9.2 million I have. And the message that I discovered was that people were always telling me they wish they had met me sooner. And so I realized that they were already in crisis by the time they came to me. And then I started telling people, and that was my ideal customer base then. I wish I could get them sooner, but I don't. I get them when they're in crisis mode. I just have another one. You wouldn't believe the crisis. So it's like I get them in crisis mode. And so then my message is, you'll wish you'd met me sooner. And so unfortunate, I was hoping I could compete and get them before they have a problem, but I don't, because all the glitz and the glamour and everything else that everyone else is selling, that making it sound easy. So I get them after the fact. So you have to know exactly where your customers position themselves. And then you have to choose the channel. So this goes back to, we were just talking about Beaver Dam. What's the channel? So the problem you're trying to solve is to get more people to know that you're there. So, and what are they going to get once they know you're there? And so then you can decide how you're going to connect with them. So I always tell people, test organic marketing first. Just put out whatever marketing you can that's not costing you any money. And if it slowly gets picked up, your content is correct, your message is correct, then you can invest money in paid marketing, because now you know what the message is. So you have to avoid that trap of you're everywhere, and just don't forget to ask for them to sign up or to do something. Social media today, when one of my first businesses was a mail order business prior to social media, and mail order, which is no different than what social media is today. And it was the same thing. You had to have a call to action. Sign your name here, fill this out here. You had to give very specific instructions to people. And don't forget to do that on social media. Very, very specific instructions. But again, don't spend money doing that unless you've tested it organically first. So you have to be able to measure whether or not this is working, right? Key performance indicators. Are you getting a return on your investment? So set very, very specific goals. Hope is not a metric. If people come to me and say, I hope this and I hope that works, that's not a metric. You've got to test it. Set very specific, repeatable goals and measure it. Is it working organically? Am I getting customers based on this message that I'm using? And then if it's not, then you can tweak it and change it. But if it's working, then you can automate the process. Then you can spend money on doing that. And then you've got to track these costs. You've got to track the conversion rates. Who's buying, who isn't? Cost per acquisition. Like this phone call I had literally a half hour before I got on this webinar, her cost per acquisition on Google Ads was $72 a client. So, and then what's her lifetime value? Her customers were repeat customers every 2 years. So it's a very, very long transition process. So she knows how she's got to price her products and her services accordingly. You have to track everything. And if you don't know how to do that, get your SCORE mentor to help you learn how to track what is important. It's more than how many likes you've got and how many clicks you have. If I hear that one more time, it makes my hair stand up. I don't care how many clicks you have. I want to know how many people are actually buying, how many people are actually clicking through to take a look at your product or service. So you have to be careful about what I call marketing9, especially now with AI, that just grabs attention. If you're in the store, if you're in the strip mall with 9 competitors, is someone going to put gold bells on the door? What's going to grab the attention? That first attention grab will get their eyes to divert to perhaps you first in an ad, in a stream of ads. But is it going to get them to open the door to go in to buy? It always goes back to what the content is. So content, converts. It's not just about putting something glitzy out there. So most content fails to convert. I put a picture of a car without a steering wheel, because you have to be very, very specific and very clear. The content has to have a purpose. My milk is the cheapest in town at Walmart. I'm convenient at the gas station, quick. I mean, you can even see the words on their door, quick, fast, so forth. So that's what engages, what's called engaging the content. That's what makes the conversion happen in the call to action. And again, it goes back to not everyone will be your customer. You're not going to get everybody. You only want those that appreciate the value of what it is that you're selling. So I realize that too. I'm not going to get everybody. So once you know all this is like, how are you going to stand out from everyone else? Once you can grow organically and you know who your audience is and you've got a very, very clear statement, don't make it sound fancy. Just tell me what it is. You know, I sell website development because I'm different because blah, 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 blah. And then you can spend money on those ads. And then you'll be able to, you have to be able to keep up with the leads too. So I came up with a program, an online program, letting people know that you're going to wish you met me sooner if your business is not growing. And here's why. And I started a social media campaign. I couldn't keep up with the leads. So I had to shut it off because it's worse than not getting any leads, is ignoring the ones you do get. So you have to be able to manage the entire process. And you have to understand when to invest and not make mistakes, because your business can implode from that too. So you've got to be able to manage it very, very carefully. Any questions? I know there's probably a million of them there, so I wanted to give you a chance, Ed, to look through the list. And Rajiv or Matt, if you have any questions, please jump in and ask me.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Lots of questions here.
Yeah.
Go on, Ed.
Rajiv, hang on. Go ahead. If you have a question, go ahead and talk to.
No, I was going to say there are lots of questions in the chat box, so
Yeah.
I was asking you to maybe get from the.
Yeah, I will get those. Okay. All right. Let's find out here. Judy Medina. Judy, let's unmute you. Go ahead. You had a question for Darlene. Judy?
So I was wondering, if you have a very local niche business, does Google Ads kind of serve a purpose if you're just looking at getting your
Well,
information out there?
it depends on is that where your ideal customers are going to search for whatever it is you're selling?
Yes and no. So I teach CPR classes for
Mhm.
both healthcare and daycare workers, etc. And so most of my business is repeat business, but obviously this is not something people are looking for all the time. It's very specific, and we're going to be moving locations. And so I was thinking about doing Google Ads, just, to
So
throw
are your
business.
customers, I don't think they'd be consumers, they would be organizations that hire you in order for you to train their staff?
It's a mixture. So we do get that. And then we also get people who are nurses,
So a nurse could come and pay for her own
oh
CPR
yeah. Yeah, we get that
his.
all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, I would suggest that you pick one of those. Which one is generating more income for you?
Definitely the groups.
Well, then in the groups, if you're going to do the Google Ads with the groups, make sure whoever you hire to help you with your Google Ads is doing it very, very specific to just those groups. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a whole lot of money on Google Ads, what I call the spaghetti approach.
Oh, yeah.
If it's done well, I have a client that uses Google Ads. If it's done right and right to the point, it works very well. And they have a geographic consulting business, very, very narrow geography. And they're only targeting a certain group of women in this income range. And so at a certain age in their life. So it's boom, boom, boom. And as soon as they put out the ad, they get quite a bit of responses. So again, just don't say I sell CPR training. You sell CPR training to groups because they need their groups or their staff trained, blah, 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 blah. You got to be very, very specific about who you're targeting and why.
Okay. Yeah, what I've started doing is the research,
Yeah,
the keywords. What are people looking
Yeah.
for so I can be the one
Yeah.
that they're finding?
yeah, yeah. And a good ad agency and a good marketing agency can help you with that. But please tell them what your message is so that you're not targeting everybody. Otherwise, your cost per client is going to go
Mhm.
through the roof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
righty. Once again, too, if you need a score mentor, get one. They can help you with that. All right, Scott Hubbard, you have a question in there. I just unmuted you. Go ahead and speak, Scott.
Yes, so I'm trying to identify a niche. I offer corporate communication training. I've been doing that on behalf of like other training companies, and I'm now just kind of branding my own approach to delivering presentations. I think I'm trying to figure out if what I've noticed is either folks who are like recently promoted to senior leadership are folks who would like this type of training. Often I would deliver training to like what a large corporation would define as a high potential employee. That's maybe somebody at like a manager level who's eligible for promotion to director. I'm just, just trying to parse through because I delivered that type of training across a lot of different industries to a lot of different levels and a lot of different roles. And I'm just really trying to hone that in.
So how are you different than the companies you worked for?
Yeah, I think I was
Yeah.
kicking around this idea like I make public speaking fun. I make PowerPoint decks fun. I make
mhm.
presentations fun. I
Where
don't know
they,
if
where
I don't know
they,
if that's got it or not.
yeah, where they don't, is that what people are looking for? So when I started the management consulting firm in Chicago with a list from the library, my differentiator was, and my competitors were the big five consulting firms, Booz, Bain, Accenture, Ernst and Young, and
Bain uses like very, very similar IP to what I use. Like
yeah, yeah. Well,
it's just
here's what I did though.
yeah.
So we sold CIO IT strategies to CIOs, and I told them up front, all of my competitors take rebates from any of the hardware or software companies that they recommended, and I did not. So what can you say that Bain or does that you're different? And that's what you're going to have to sit and figure out. And it could be something extremely simple and little. And that differentiates.
What if I sold on price? What if I said price?
Well, then if
What
you
if I
go on
said I'll
price,
sell at a lower price point?
well, then you're selling the milk at the cheapest price. So now you've got to come up with volume. So none of you, I can tell you on this call, almost none of you on this webinar are ever going to sell on price. You're going to have to find a way to say why you are different. And it's not going to be convenience. It's not going to be because you can drive up at the gas station and get it quickly. It's going to have to be you've got some kind of raw milk that no one else has.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like my idea is most presentations are boring. That's a problem that I can help solve.
Well, then if your presentations are fun, what benefit is that to them? Are they going to earn more money? Are they going to get more recognition? What are they going to get out of that other than feeling good?
Yeah, they're going to get
Yeah.
buy-in for their ideas, but that's a long,
Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta sit and figure that out, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you're
Darling,
at right
can,
now.
can I just add one thing
Sure.
for Scott? Scott, when you start competing on price, the thing is, your competitors can very quickly drop the price as well. If you are somebody who's delivering price and there's no bottom,
Yeah.
how far will you go down?
Yeah.
So, what Darling is saying here, if you have a niche and you can say, hey, here's the value I add, that is far stronger and you don't have to drop your price.
100%. She kept saying Walmart. I wanted to say it out loud. I completely agree though. I think I have to differentiate with the branding and with the offer. Yep, agree.
Plus the fact, Scott, if you're in the consulting business, I'm not sure I want to advertise I'm the cheapest guy out there.
I'm the cheapest consultant you can hire.
The quality not to be there
Right,
based on the
right.
price.
Now you guys are catching on. Yeah, you're catching on.
Agree.
Yeah,
Agree.
yeah.
All right, I've got to move on, Scott. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Steve.
Donatella Craig. Donatella Craig, I've unmuted. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead, Donatella. You had a really good question.
Thank
about it.
you. Hi, good
Hi.
evening. First of all, the presentation's excellent, and so are all the questions. I wondered if you had a recommendation for AI usage for us small business owners based on your own experiences.
I use quite a few. Chat GPT is probably my go-to one. I do pay for it.
Mhm.
And then I've done videos, custom-made videos with Flicky.
Okay,
I use that one on and off. I write my own books, so I use something called Designer with 2 R's.
okay.
It formats the books for me. I mean, there are hundreds of them out there.
Yeah,
With the paid version of Chat GPT, you get access to a lot of other tools like Dolly to create graphics. I use
yes, I use it too, and
Yeah.
the paid
Yeah.
subscriptions. I was just
Yeah.
wondering, based on your experience and your amount of years in this industry, what you were using. Thank you so much. And,
Yeah.
and can I just make a comment to
Sure.
Scott? I actually started my career similar to what he's saying. I worked for New Horizons 100 years ago. And one of the things that I found is that adding that fun and lack of monotone for your training, which makes it more engaging, which increases productivity for your client base. And so they will love that. I dropped you a note in the message.
Great.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys, I'm going to let Darlene finish up, and then
Okay.
we'll have time at the end for a bunch
Yeah.
of Q&A that I know you
Yeah.
have questions,
Yeah.
but we'll finish on time.
So yeah, because we're almost done here. So what I don't like is when I see people hustling. It makes it looks like it makes it look like a snake oil salesman. Um, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. You want to look like you're a viable, sustainable business. Now, if you go through like the Fortune 10 biggest companies, in the United States, Walmart being number one, they started with one store. And the message was, no one's going to sell cheaper than us. And you look at Amazon, I think they're Fortune 2, right? Jeff Bezos only sold books through the mail, so you didn't have to go to the store to pick up the book or buy it. And he sold them out of his garage. And he kept the message the same. Then he added another product, and Walmart added another store. Walmart didn't have groceries at the beginning. They only had sundries. They only had certain items. So the point I'm trying to make here is make it scalable. Just keep building it and building it and building it and building it. Bezos didn't become a trillionaire overnight. So have your very clear objective up front. So like the CPR, you're only selling to groups. Keep it small. Keep the message simple. Keep it to one ideal client profile and design that customer journey and set up a budget that you can afford just for that customer. So when I started at Taurus Consulting Group, I didn't have much money. I spent the money on the graphics that I sent to people in the mail and phones, calling them up, finally getting appointments. And I kept the message the same. We do not accept rebates from the hardware and software companies when we design your IT strategy like our competitors do. That was point blank what I said every time. That's how we were different. Then I built the team around that, and the message in the team stayed the same. So don't start out by saying you sell everything. Otherwise, you will look like a hustler. You've got to keep the message simple, keep it small, keep it direct. And because what happens with business owners, they want it all, they want it quick, and you're afraid you're going to leave money on the table. You're afraid you're going to lose a customer. You're afraid you're going to lose, for example, the CPR. I'm not going to get the nurses. Yes, you will. Every customer I work with, I'm scaling back their marketing message And people who are not their ideal clients are calling them up, hiring them, or buying their product or service. So they're still going to come to you if they're a good customer for you. So don't be afraid to stay small. Again, that discipline. You've got to test that clear message. That's the only way you're going to overcome any roadblock that you're facing. So test the message, test it, keep it clear, keep it small. And you've got to try it for several months. It's not going to happen overnight. So don't give up. But if nothing is coming, then change the message. But if you're getting 1, you're getting 2, you're getting 3, you're getting 4, and you see it growing and you see it growing and you see it growing, that's when you start investing money in it and making it work. So the key takeaways here for you tonight is you've got to have that business model. What kind of milk are you selling? What's that value statement? And then who is buying it? People at Walmart are buying groceries because they're on a very fixed budget. Their carts are full when I go in there. They've got a lot of children, so they probably have a huge budget for food shopping or whatever, their household budget. So they gotta look for deals. Now, my sister called me to go to a party at her house, and she asked me to pick up a gallon of milk. She shops at Walmart. I was not going and waiting in that line. I stopped at the gas station by her house, picked up a half a gallon, which I spent $6 on, and she refused to reimburse me for it because she said, I'm not paying for that. I said, my time's more valuable. So what's that message? What are you selling? You're saving somebody time? Are you giving them something else? What is different? You've got to separate yourself from that competition. What's that sign on the door? If you don't have that, you're going to keep struggling with this marketing. I call it the foundation. You're going to keep struggling. So now we can talk to all the questions you have on here. I'll stay as long as you need me, Ed.
Okay, once I get myself unmuted, I get my video back.
I
Okay,
know.
I've actually lined up the people who have talking permitted. So here we're going to start with Catherine Townsend. Catherine, you had a question in the Q&A. Go ahead and speak to Darlene directly.
Hi, Catherine.
Catherine, are you there? Catherine, we've unmuted you. Probably
Oh, maybe she walked away.
doesn't have a mic, right? I'm gonna go all the way down here. Nope. Catherine, we'll let you keep trying to figure out, and you can jump on when you find your mic. But in the meantime, did I do this right? Donatella Craig? Donatella?
We just talked to
We
Donatella.
just talked to you.
Yeah,
How about Judy Medina?
I think we talked to Judy.
To her too? All right.
Yeah.
How about Maria Schmidt? Maria, go ahead and speak.
Hi. You have not spoken to me yet, and I'm
All
so
right.
happy to be so. Thank you so much for taking my call. We have a very unique business, and what makes us. I do understand what my model is, and this is. I've been in business for 5 years. It is a outbound, multi-day tourism business, and what makes us unique, and we have claimed the status of what we do as being the first. We're the first to do esoteric supernatural tours around the world, multi-day. So we go to places like Romania and Ireland and Scotland for people that are interested in the esoteric and mysterious world and the legends, etc. Totally, we are the very first to do the particular model with that, and that is we bang our drum on that. So we're trying to incorporate some strategies with that. Certainly, AI has taken a big part in our development, making my job a lot easier. You're right; it has to be qualified. It has to be, strategized and do. What I'm looking at is there is a shift going on right now, and I'm sure most of you are aware of that. That the SEO in organic Google clicks have gone down.
Yeah.
And the reason is because people are now shifting towards more of finding out the answers, not through Google, but through ChatGPT and the other. So with that being said, I think I'd like to put myself in a position of being an authority in that area because we do have some authority. We do have some information on that. That if people say, well, what is the most haunted castle in Ireland, for instance, I can give that answer, obviously. But I want to be the one that AI quotes or refers to because
Yeah.
that itself is going to be extremely powerful. I think they call it the large language model as opposed to the SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah.
So, what are your recommendations from that? And I would love for SCORE to start looking into that new avenue of, empowering
Yeah.
us as small businesses.
Yeah, I
Thank you for
noticed.
taking my call. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a very complicated question. The large
Sorry.
language, that's okay. And I'm not experienced in that at all. But I can tell you when I do put stuff into Chat GPT and I'm researching something, it'll ask me if it's okay to go outside of their AI and go to another source, and they specifically cite the website. So I understand where you're coming from. You want, if I put in Chat GPT, I want to visit a haunted castle, you want Chat GPT to go to Maria's site and say, here, you want them to recommend you. You're going to just have to stay on top of who's working on that right now because things are happening so fast.
Yes.
I don't even know. And I know SCORE is trying to get as many speakers as they can on this subject to keep up with it. But I think if you stay with your message and being the oldest and the first in the country and find out what some of the testimonials are from your clients that you can use over and over again that even AI can't say. So people keep telling me all the time, well, Darlene, you're going to be replaced by AI. No, it's not. AI has no experience like I do. They have no idea what it is. So they have no experience from what you do based on your experiences already. You know where the castle is, but you can talk about the experience you've had with that castle where AI can't. And that's where you're going to have to stay on top of that.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I recommend.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Because that's our newest strategy on our platform.
Yeah.
And I know that AI is evolving so fast, so quick. It's hard to catch up, isn't it?
Well, you're going to have to find out where people who are in the esoteric trades like to hang out besides AI. And that's where you need to advertise. And that's where you need to connect with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Next person I'm going to ask to, I've unmuted you, you can speak, is Carrie Van Orman. Carrie, go ahead and speak, please. Carrie,
No, I guess
you
not.
had a question.
Okay, next.
No, Carrie? Catherine Townsend, have we found you yet? Have you got a mic yet up there? Okay, I'm having no luck here with questions, but you guys are permitted to speak. Oh, Carrie's got a serious cold. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Is
You
this
want-
a
you just wanna-
question?
you wanna-
Kingston.
How about Doug Netzel? Doug, hang on a minute. I'll get you to unmute. Go ahead, Doug. You had a nice little note in there. Go ahead and speak, please.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't have a business yet, and I really only found about SCORE very recently, so I'm looking to get a mentor and start a business. My kind of niche and goal is to I have been kind of living, breathing, eating AI since it has kind of
Yeah.
come onto the scene here, the last few years, and so beyond the Chat GPT that everyone else kind of knows about, I have really dove into some of the other tools and stuff, and I think my niche and goal is to kind of help some of these smaller businesses that don't have an IT staff. I'm a system engineer that has been in IT for 30 years, so I kind of have that background, and I'm looking to kind of change into the role of helping some of these smaller businesses who don't have an IT staff to kind of guide them, and they probably are looking into sort of how can we use AI to help our business. And I can say, well, and I kind of want to come in as a light sort of I'm not going to come in as a consultant where I'm going to come in and be like, let me help you guide you through this project for 6 months kind of thing. This is more of a let me come in and give you a workshop for a couple of days and show you some tools, like send your project manager, send your business analyst, send your salespeople, send your, send someone from IT to make sure your policies and procedures are there, so you're not just dumping all your internal documents out to, So I think that's the role that I want to do, and I think that there's
Well, I
certainly
think, well,
probably
first,
competition there, but I think there's a lot of room for people out there that do that.
well, I think where you're going to have to start is the library and find out how many small businesses can afford that.
Mhm.
Because less than 9% of the 32 million small businesses in this country ever reach 7 figures a year in sales. And less than 4% of women-owned businesses ever reach $1 million a year in sales. As a matter of fact, 90% of women-owned businesses do less than 100,000 a year in sales. So you're targeting small business owners. You're going to have to be very, very specific after the group that you want to go after. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time at the library. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there selling the exact same thing that you're talking about. I see them all the time, but I see very few that can give me a very, very specific niche as to why they're in business.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to have to start with who the ideal client base is for you, and then focus and work backwards from there. That's what I would recommend you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. All righty. Yolanda, you had your hand up. I just unmuted you. Go ahead and speak, Yolanda.
Thank you for all of this information. I just wanted to ask, as far as going to the library, what do you do when you get there? How do you do this research at the library?
That's where Matt suggested ask for the business librarian. So you got to ask for a reference librarian or a business librarian. I don't know if Matt's still on the call.
I am. I can take that
yeah,
one, Darlene, if
please,
you want.
yes.
Yeah. So, we're under a few different names when you go to the library. We could be called a business librarian. Some of us are called adult services librarians. So I would just go into your public library and at the front desk and ask if anyone, if there is a librarian who specifically helps business owners, and then they'll be able to direct you to who that is, or they'll be able to let you know where that person exists. Public libraries are growing more and more to have business librarians. If your library doesn't have one, I suggest checking with your local community college. It's more common in your local community college, depending on the part of the country that you're in as well.
Okay, all right, sounds good. One thing that I'd be looking for is like the niches, painting kitchen cabinets. So
You have to
painting
take a
maybe
look
kitchen
at,
cabinets.
yeah, you
yeah.
have to look to see who the competition is in the area that you're focusing on. And they
Okay.
have databases of that information, so they'll be able to, to start researching that for you. And then you'd have to look up each one of those competitors to see what they do that you do differently.
Okay,
It's going to take some
sounds good.
time.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, I don't see any more questions. If somebody would like to go ahead and raise their hand, I will go ahead and allow you to speak. So I'll keep this open another minute or so while we're waiting here. Just a reminder to everybody, there are still some questions. Yes, tomorrow I will be sending you a recording. We do have a person wants to speak. Jose Burgos, go ahead and speak. Jose? I just unmuted you.
Can you hear
Jose?
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jose.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to add up a little bit about that aggregated value. We are in the translation business, and as you know, AI and machine translation have overtaken in the last, I gotta say, probably the last decade, but it has been really strong right now in the last, I mean, I don't know how old is ChatGPT now, maybe 20, 30 months now, I think. But it has really making a heck of a difference, when it comes to really trying to sell that, because people think, translation is free. And there was an employee one time, they tell me, well, what do you pay for translations when translations are free? And I say, why do you buy bottled water when water is free? And that's exactly how you really have to approach that. You know, it's that aggregated value that, I mean, don't say things like, oh, our quality is better. You know, things like everybody's saying. I think I agree a lot with you, Darlene, you know, with that thing about the vanity and I gotta say the mesmerizing of marketing lingo, and you know, doesn't really add any value to it. But it seems like we are in nowadays into that situation. But I just wanted to come into that.
Thank you. Yeah, you have to find a way to say you exist and why.
Jose, one other thing that a lot of people confuse is a lot of business people try to market their business by talking about the features of their product, not
Absolutely.
the benefits of their product. And that's a huge difference because you want to know how, if I'm a customer, I want to know what's in it for me. I don't necessarily want to know all about your features and everything. If you don't tell me what's in it for me as a benefit, you're missing the boat on marketing your product.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why do you exist? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They all sell the same milk from the same cow. Same cow. That's you know, when I thought about that with my grandparents pumping those containers with the milk, I'm thinking it could end up in 16 different bottles from the same cow, and they're all charging different prices. So yeah, what's the
we do
benefit?
have one other person wants to speak. Nidra Smith. Go ahead, Nidra. Nidra, you had your hand up. I just unmute. I think I had, permitted you to speak. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't. That was an accident.
Oh, you accidentally put your hand up.
But I'm happy to be here.
Well, it was nice talking to you, Nidra.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thanks, Nidra. Thanks for staying on. Thank you.
All righty, folks. I think we're wrapping up here. And with that, first of all, I'd like to thank my friend Matt Williams for co-sponsoring this with the Addison Public Library. We really, really want to thank Darlene again for volunteering her very valuable time, sharing her expertise with us. And Darlene, I think you said something about a book.
Yeah.
Is there something you want to put up a slide on that, or just talk?
Well, they will. I will give you the link. I'll give you a copy of the slides, and I'll give you the link. They'll have to download the book. The book is too big to email.
Okay.
So I'll give you the link when you send it out tomorrow. They can download the book right away from there, and then can save it on their hard drive.
And we've got this on tape that you're going to do it, so that's perfect. Once again, big thank you to Darlene for valuable time and sharing your expertise. Reminder, I will be sending out the recording and the slides tomorrow afternoon, probably. And just a reminder, folks, if you need help, come to score.org. A lot of your questions that you guys have been posing this evening are questions that qualified SCORE mentors can help you answer. And you get one-on-one consultation through that, folks. And guess what? It's free. Okay. We have the best price in town. People talking about low prices. We have the best price. We're free. So utilize our services, folks. Thank you all so much for attending tonight. I hope you gleaned something that can help you succeed in business, and keep looking for our SCORE webinars, guys. We really appreciate your attending.